I will also tell you that I've learned in life that one small thing that you shift can have a massive impact on your life.
Ladies and gentlemen, especially if you're watching this, I really want you to make a note of it. I want you to actually comment down below if that's something that you have struggled on a date and how to. Debbie actually lay it out for you right there, what to say and what to do in those situations. So if you're really struggling, definitely tell me about it. Leave a comment down below. We'd love to hear from you guys.
Yeah.
So Debbie, just to make a note of what we have talked about, how can you use your highly sensitive to make yourself more attractive to your mate? I love this because we're so sensitive. Our sense of smell, taste is all heightened.
Yes.
I love it.
And so I think, first of all, the more you are in your feminine energy, the more you are better. Now, remember, going back to, I don't want to feel needy. I don't want to feel like I'm worried about what's going to happen on our first date. I'm worried what he's going to think about me. I'm worried, all these worries. You're not in your body. You're in your head. Okay. You're not literally in tuned and enjoying that sensitive nature, the sensual nature of the way you're wired. And it's that thing, it's that feminine energy that a man wants, otherwise he'd hang out with his friends, right? He's on that date because so really when you are, a couple of things. One is make sure that you are really well nourished before you ever go on a date. And what I mean by well nourished, I don't mean food necessarily. I mean like soul nourished, where you're in a space where you're feeling happy. Because when you're feeling happy, the playfulness comes out. And that is the thing, because men think in terms of, how do I feel when I'm with her? How do I feel when I'm with her? That's how they know yes or no. It's not about how smart you are, even necessarily how pretty you are, to be honest. They're feeling your energy intuitively, and then as it relates to their energy. So just like a man could walk into a room and look around all the other men that he doesn't know and kind of instinctively know, yep, nope, yeah, jerk, yeah, he's cool, I'll talk to him, nope, he's an asshole. Like, they just have this intuitive sense, right? So it's kind of that way on a date, where the more you can access your playful side and just your sort of your inner spirit, that's why you want to be well nourished before, and whatever that looks like. For me, it's walking on the beach. When I walk on the beach, it's like, oh, I can just let my spirit soar, and I feel so at peace, and I feel in harmony when I'm down by the water. And then, when I'm engaging with people, I've got all these, reserves. You know what I mean? I'm well balanced, and I can really engage with people and connect and smile and enjoy and really be able to be that way. So that's what that's what a man finds attractive. He finds that playful side inside of you. He finds the sensual side very attractive. And again, it's how does he make him feel? Now, remember, if you partner that with what I just talked about, which is, oh, I so appreciate you taking me to this place that you asked him to take you to, right? It really makes me happy. And so now he's got all the answers, right? It's like, oh, I love her energy. And I'm also a hero because I just did this for her. So we like to do this to set up a win-win, but it's a win-win for everybody because it's really showing your authentic side. It's not about you contorting yourself to be something you're not. You're literally showing your authentic side. And that's what's so beautiful, really.
That's amazing. That is totally true, Debbie. Like, when a man is more wanting a woman to be receptive. Mm-hmm. And that's so great because as a woman myself, being highly sensitive, I'm sensitive to, anything that can, including somebody's cologne. I could smell like kilometers away.
Yeah, I hear you. I'm the same way.
So can you just imagine sitting on a bus on a hot day? I could smell everybody on the
Right.
bus, right? So that being said, like a way that a man smell makes a difference to a highly sensitive person as well, right?
Mhm.
Environment and things like that. So when you are going on a date, I think women can get turned on being highly sensitive as well, just by being around their energy as well, right? Because you're
Yeah,
so in tune with just everything around you.
right,
And everything on a date could be very distracting. How you say the noise is assaulting you,
right, right,
right? And it could
right.
be overwhelming and overbearing, and you can't really focus because you're distracted by everything around you, sound, noise, smell, and everything, right? So
Basically, what you're looking to do in dating is set it up for success for both of you,
yeah.
right? You're looking to, because a guy doesn't know. I mean, he doesn't know you, but you're more in tune to what's going to be work for you to be able to bring your best self to the table, right? And he wants the cheat sheet. He wants the cheat sheet. He wants you to tell him where you go that will make you happy, you know, and that you're appreciative of. So that kind of sets you both up for success. And then, you know, if it's not a fit, it's not a fit. It's not a big deal. But at least you're not going home miserable. If it's not a fit, you're not also going home and going, oh my God, my body feels like it just took, you know, a bat to it, you know, with all that noise and all that commotion, and then the guy wasn't good and all this other stuff. You don't want to be in those kinds of situations. Like I said, the more well-balanced, the more well-nourished you are, the more you literally can enjoy yourself. Whether it's the right fit or not the right fit, you can still enjoy yourself.
it's totally true. And that could be every different kind of setting as well. Like, for example, if you're meeting the family for the first time, and that could be overwhelming and the energy that's coming off, and you need to learn how to tune in or tell your partner how the setting needs to help you in your situation, that it's not overwhelming or overbearing, because you know we have Christmas and that can be overwhelming with the family
Yeah,
drama.
I do a program just on that at the end of the year, you know, about overwhelming. But I will tell you a couple of things around that, because you're going to be put in situations where you have no control over it. But just like that, that's a classic example, right? You're going to be put in situations where you can't say, here's where I want to go. You actually have, you know, you're going to your partner's dinner party. You know, it's a business, right? A business thing or business networking. Now, being sensitive doesn't mean you're necessarily introverted, but a predominant amount of people who are highly sensitive are introverted. I am. I would much rather be in front of an audience of 500 people speaking than be in an audience of 500 people. I mean, no doubt about it. But that doesn't mean there are some highly sensitive people that are extroverts, you know, so introvert, extrovert, but it just tends to be that way. The more grounded you are, the less that kind of thing will affect you. The more grounded you are, the less that. And one of the greatest ways that a man can help ground you and be that sort of protector is, and this is a man that, you know, you're already sort of involved with, when he puts his hand on your back, lightly puts his hand on your back, that's his way of saying, I got you, I got your back. Because as a highly sensitive person, you're the most vulnerable, your front and your back. Taking in other people's energy, right? You can't protect, it's hard. You have to put your back to a wall, which I always choose when I'm in a restaurant, if at all possible. I have my back to a wall. But sometimes that's not going to happen. You're in the middle of, Christmas, right? With the family members or people you don't know, and you're put in this weird situation. Well, again, having a man there kind of putting his hand on your back, and it's not to rub you or anything like that, but just there, he becomes not only kind of a grounding piece for you, but it's really a protection piece. And so there's some things that you can ask your partner to do that it's almost like an honor to him to literally take care of you. And I can't stress this enough. You know, you're not here to be self-reliant. This is what partnership is about. He has needs from you. He's got needs from you, and you definitely have needs from him. And it's not about being needy. It's about being needed by your partner. And that's why you're in partnership in a good way, in a healthy way, in a very balanced way.
I love that tip, Debbie. The whole partner thing, that works very well, about putting your back against the wall, or have your partner have their hands behind your back.
Yeah.
It
Mhm.
actually really creates like a complete circle, like in a shield.
And like a shield, yeah, exactly. And it also, one of the things that highly sensitive people crave, and men and women, it's not just a gender thing. We crave depth. We crave deep connections because we're wired that way. Our senses are always out there, picking up everything. So we're almost in tune to feeling things deeply. So if something doesn't feel good, it doesn't feel good deeply. That's not so good, right? It really doesn't feel good. When something does feel good, you're like, oh, it's like nirvana, right? It's like, oh my God, that tastes amazing, or that smell is amazing, or that you touching me, that's amazing. So we tend to swing to both sides of the spectrum in most cases. Well, then it stands to reason that we want to feel our heart deeper, which is why highly sensitive people are very compassionate, extremely compassionate, and extremely empathetic. And so we're wired to want that kind of deep connection, so to speak. And, to have that deep connection, not everybody's there to just lay it all out there on the line right away. So there's ways to build that connection. Yeah.
That is totally true. What if, like, for example, like, if I was dating someone who isn't highly sensitive, or should I be dating someone who's highly sensitive out there, what would you recommend for people who are considered to be highly sensitive? Would you date the same person, the same type, or would you do the opposite?
Yeah. I get asked that question a lot, because I have a lot of people, a lot of women that are single that follow me and who are looking for love. And here's my response to them. Just because we tend to want deep connections, but there are plenty of men who are not highly sensitive who also want deep connections. I say first string, the first level of connection looking for a mate is values. Do you line up with values? If you don't line up in values, doesn't matter how they're wired. It really doesn't. It's really important that you'll never have a good solid foundation in a partnership. And I'm not talking about tastes and hobbies. I'm talking about intrinsic values in the way you want to run your life, or the way you already do run your life. And if they are pretty opposed to what your partner wants, the way he wants to run his life, this isn't, compromising your values is a real thing about who you deeply are, and that's never going to work. That's never going to work. So that's the first thing. And I talk a lot about soul values. And so your soul values are, no matter how you've changed over the years, no matter how you've grown over the years, your soul values are the things that never change. So it's the things you love about yourself that allow you to be fully self-expressed. So Cindy, if I were to ask you, and if I were to ask your best friend, describe the things you love most about Cindy, what would she say? Give me some
most what? Sorry again?
Give me some words, just single words.
Okay. Beautiful, nice, sincere, lovely, generous, kind, intuitive, and gifted.
And gifted, fantastic. So if I were to look at that list and I'd say, really, Cindy, I don't think so. I don't think you're gifted at all. What would your response be?
I would normally just respond it. Those are the things that I've been experiencing. And that,
yeah, but I mean, the thing is that you'd fight me for it, wouldn't you? Because you know you are that way.
Yeah.
And so your soul values are the things that you might not be able to express every single day, but because there's days you're not going to be happy, right? But they are an intrinsic piece of who you are. And when you line up with a mate, when you show those and they embrace those, this is the pieces that you start with. We start with as a solid foundation. And, being highly sensitive or not highly sensitive, there's so many more things that go into a partnership than is it easier. Because, of course, we want everybody to understand us. But I will tell you something. A man, whether he's highly sensitive or not, will understand you a whole lot more when you're meeting in the same place of values. And you have something that's so deeply important to both of you individually because of how you're, both you are, that there's that commonality, then there's that opportunity to go deeper into this and to engage. So the answer, I think, is no. Quite honestly, I don't think the person has to be highly sensitive to be in a great partnership. As long as you are authentic enough and you know what you do need, and you can have those kinds of conversations once you're lined up on values, that you can have those conversations and find out, is this a guy that can take care of my needs? I mean, it's not a whole lot more complicated than that, but I know a lot of women get frustrated by it.
Yeah, it's totally, like I said, it's either women or men, because I have partners where their partner, she wants to listen to noise all day long, and that's how she falls asleep, and he can't fall asleep. So it's like, what do you do in that sort of situation? Do we sleep in different rooms, or how do we?
You have to learn. Well, compromising when it comes to your sensitivities is not going to work. Quite honestly, it's almost like I'm very, very sensitive to perfume. I get sick immediately. So when somebody says to me, "But I only sprayed a little bit," it's like giving somebody with a severe peanut allergy who could end up in a hospital with one peanut, and saying, "But I only gave you one." I don't understand, right? So that's when you have to learn to be creative, whether it's sleeping in separate rooms or having the best earplugs possible, which is a possibility, or she, goes to sleep with earbuds, which will fall out, when she falls asleep. I mean, there are ways to work around this stuff. There are workable solutions. You can't change how somebody's wired for something like that.
That is totally true. That is 100% true when it comes to like sleeping, because sleeping is really important, because that's how you rest your body. And if you're not rested and you're highly sensitive, you're going to become even more highly sensitive to everything else, right?
That is true. If your body is not well nourished, and particularly in the area of sleep, you will feel your sensitivity stronger. That's absolutely true. Yeah.
Yeah. And where as well, like we can talk about living space as well, right? Like where you live, like living in the city versus with living in suburbs. Because I deal with couples and relationships where they're like, I don't know where to move because my partner is highly sensitive, but we got to work in the city. What are we going to do about that, right?
Yeah.
Living in a high rise.
I have a lot of people, I have a lot of students who I work with individually who live in a city. They're really sensitive. I've got one student, in fact, who lives in London. She has an 1.5-hour commute. She has to take 3 different modes of transportation. She's extremely sensitive, right? To and from work. So I said to her, what are you doing during that? Well, so she's wiped out before she gets to work, because she's just been in a crowded bus, a crowded metro, tube, right? It's just nothing but people and all that noise. And I said to her, I told her, I want you to get some really good, either noise canceling earphones, or some really good earphones. And I want you to have your phone with you or something that's got music on it. And I want you to listen to and do some meditation while you're on the subway. And I mean, her turnaround when she started to do this, because people, they don't change so quickly. It seems like such an easy solution, but why weren't you doing it for most of your life? You don't think about things like that, right? You're so, out of sorts. It completely transformed her. She found that she was doing a lot more. She used to just, I find that when people hit overwhelm and their life is sort of run through overwhelm, like every day is overwhelming to them, not only do they self-sabotage themselves all the time, but they have a huge voice of inner judgment around how bad they are. Like, you didn't do it. You were supposed to do it. You promised yourself you were going to do this and you didn't do it. It's definitely a downward spiral. So if you learn how to take care of yourself, there are solutions, but you have to be in the right space to start to, discover those solutions, if that makes sense.
For sure. Like it's the same thing. Whatever your solution where you were saying about the headbuds, and like, that's what I do all the time. Even though there's nothing coming out of the headphones, it's just plugged in.
Oh, you like silence.
Yeah, I like my silence. So And that's including like when you're at home, there's family members or your spouse is there, or your kids are there. You need to learn how to communicate what quiet time. You might just call it quiet time, right? That's mean that everybody goes in their room and just do their own thing, and
Yeah.
and you could do that for yourself too, right? So have your own cave.
Everybody's got rights, and if it's your home, and if you've got kids, they're your kids. But I mean, I've run the gamut. I mean, I've had one client who is a stay-at-home mom, 4 kids under the age of 9. You can imagine what that's like, and she's extremely sensitive, like all that energy and all that commotion around her, and she was wiped out. And her husband fell in love with me. He's never met me. He's never talked to me, but I gave her so many tips on how to manage during the day and the way she was handling it and how to manage her relationship with him. He was like, oh my God, you've saved my marriage. Like, he was so happy. So there are definite, this isn't a life sentence. This is a gift.
It's true. It is. I love it when you were saying it's a gift, and it's not like there is solution out there, and I love your solution. And sometimes the most simplest solution is a life-saving solution.
It is. I mean, most of the things I talk about they're relatively simple. It's just, people, it's whether they choose to follow them. It's no different than losing weight. You can be so brilliant in knowing you've read every type of weight loss plan out there, right? You can speak backwards and forwards, right? All the what to eat, what not to eat, what works for your body. But if you don't do it, it doesn't matter how smart you are in knowing all that stuff. You have to actually do it.
It's totally true.
Yeah.
So, I want to talk about your program, or if you want to explain your dating program that you have for highly sensitive people. Can you tell me a little bit more about that? I'll definitely link everything down below for anybody who's watching this and really want to get a solution to help you go back out dating. Because honestly, staying in your home Prince Charming is not going to knock on your door unless it's the mailman. But even the mailman doesn't come at the door anymore. It must be a delivery guy.
Well, I will say that, unlike you, who specializes in working with people in relationships, I work on, relationships all the time, but I'm not a dating coach by any stretch of the imagination. But I have so many people who are like you, dating coaches, who have come to me and said, my women are highly sensitive. You got to help. Debbie, you need, because you're such an expert on highly sensitive, help me out here, give them something. So I actually created this program. It's not to show you how to date. It's not to show you how to find a man, how to, or how to attract a man. It literally is something that's not out there, because I know, Cindy, you must have a lot of programs on exactly how to do that. The program I have is, it's dating for women who are highly sensitive, to help you really understand and embrace your gift of sensitivity as it relates to you in dating. Does that make sense? So the first, it's 3 audios, and the first audio is really about how do you embrace your sensitivity through the eyes of love, and it talks about the 7 blocks that you'll know if you're experiencing these blocks are definitely preventing you from having the kind of relationship you want. And one big block, I'll just say something about that. It's called settling. Because if you are one of those people, what happens, and I have this happen all the time, is that whether it's settling in a relationship or settling for a job and a career, is that especially people that are extremely self-reliant, they have 2 things going on. One is they are afraid they really know, they actually have really clarity on what they want. They're not unclear. They have pretty good clarity on what they want, but they feel they can't have it. So they settle, and then they're never happy. So the first audio is about really being able to identify if you've got any of these blocks, so that we got to move forward, and to do that by embracing. And I talk really about what does it mean to really embrace yourself from a place of love. And the second audio I call, it's called The Authentic Side of Your Highly Sensitive Nature. That's like catnip for a man. So I go pretty deep into some of the things I talked about today in today's interview, about what makes you, literally, there's some things about being highly sensitive that make you extremely attractive when you know how to engage that, and how to bring out those things inside of yourself that are really attractive that have everything to do with being highly sensitive. I'm like, look, if you're going to be wired for this, you might as well use it to every benefit you have, right? And your intuition is a great benefit as a highly sensitive person, especially on dating. I go back in my life when at being single and all the times and all the years that I dated and all the relationships I was in. And I can tell you now, for why I'm saying this, I can admit this out loud. I knew right up front the guy wasn't right for me. On every single relationship I was in, but I fell into settling, worrying, I don't want to be lonely. Oh, but mostly that voice in my head said, oh, but what if, not only like, what if there's never another guy? It was like, what if I'm being too picky? I'd hear that voice a lot. Yeah, no, I am so clear that my intuition is right, period, end of story, that I've had to turn down insane chemistry, with somebody, because your body picks very differently than your intuition. Your intuition's the one that's right, So that's in the second audio. And then the third audio is to talk more about how do you reveal your sensitive nature. And I talked a little bit about that in today's interview too. But I also talk about what to do in a dating profile. Like, what would you write about in your dating profile that actually shows you're sensitive without ever using those words? Because I'm not a big advocate. I did not coin the term highly sensitive person. I'm not a big fan of it because I think it can be really misunderstood and misconstrued. I'm not trying to coin a new phrase. I tend to talk about people with heightened sensitivities is what I usually say, but you don't even have to say that. There's ways, again, and I talked a little bit about that today, but how you can talk about it, not only in your profile, but in conversation where a guy's like, oh, great. Thank you for sharing that. Like, they really want to know more about you. And you're not talking about it as if it's a life sentence, like there's something, like it's a disease or there's something wrong with you. So that's really what it is. It's really to learn how to embrace, talk about it, and just be that way and be your authentic self through the dating process.
Wow, Debbie, that is amazing. Thank you so much for building a program like this. Like you were saying earlier before, this is a program not specifically for dating, just to help you to learn about your highly sensitive so that you can make things happen for you.
Yeah.
If you're sitting at home watching this video and you have not gone on a date for years and you're terrified, I would just go and just take Debbie's program right now and don't blink on it. Don't think about it. Don't overanalyze it. Don't hyperanalyze anything. Just do it, because if there's one thing that you can change in that program that help you enhance your life, do it. Yeah. If it's not going to kill you, I promise you're going to come at a better.
I'm not sure that the universe has said, Debbie, your next thing is you're going to be, Cupid. But but I will tell you, I am on a mission. Yeah. And I'm on a mission of love. And it's not about a mission of being in love. It's about a mission of being in love with yourself. And when you are the most powerful when you're in love with yourself, when you embrace yourself at the highest level. But I also have a belief system, and you can all work with me on this belief system, or join me on this, or you can stay where you're at in your own. But I believe that, first of all, life doesn't have to be a struggle. Yeah. That you can move through things with ease and flow, and that's what I'm about. That's why I help people release their energy blocks and ease and flow. I will also tell you that I've learned in life that one small thing that you shift can have a massive impact on your life. And that's what this audio program is. And the things that I teach just in general, for dating, this audio program is the one small thing that not only makes your life easier, but it can have a huge impact on your life. And to be able to walk away and embrace who you are, embrace the sensual part of yourself, be able to talk about your needs out loud, to be able to own who you are, to be able to own that when you're on a date, to be able to be taken care of. Each one of those is a small thing with a massive impact on how much you can be self-expressed and self-loved and loved from another person. So that I am on a mission. I'll leave all the dating tips to you, Cindy. Where to find the guy and all that other stuff. That's your job.
Thank you so much, Debbie. We're running out of time. I had so much fun. My audience will definitely want to gobble more of this information. Definitely, if, like she was saying, there's a link down below. Click on her video, her program, and there's a bunch of audios that can help her, can actually help you to enhance your dating life and be empowered within your gift and not let it to be a hinder moment. So, Debbie, I want to thank you so much
Thank
for
you. I really enjoyed it. It
joining.
went by really fast.
Yeah.